By now, you may have heard of Musab Hasan Yusuf. He's the son of Hamas co-founder Sheikh Hasan Yusuf. This week, Yusuf spoke at my alma mater, the University of Michigan, addressing a student-led anti-disinformation group called Facts on the Ground. Unlike the Hamas fighters he spent time with in prison, Yusuf is a pro-democracy, pro-Israel advocate. He explained students think they're fighting for freedom and democracy when they join pro-Palestine protests. But in reality, they're supporting people who advocate violence, genocide, and a Nazi point of view.
It all begins with killing Jews. This is what happened last century. And Nazism, many thought of it as a point of view. And now history is repeating itself. And even in the middle of our educational institutions, we've been invaded by Hamas ideology, by the name of Palestine and by the name of revolution. Who cares? Anti-Semitism is Nazism, and it's rejected. It should be rejected on this campus, should be rejected everywhere in the United States.
Yusuf's appearance came at the same time that the U of M Central Student Government asked students to vote on a resolution referring to Palestine as, quote, a victim of settler colonialism. The petitioners want the university to recognize the millions of people undergoing genocide in Gaza. The resolution also calls for the University of Michigan to revisit its decision against forming a committee to, quote, investigate the ethics of its investments in apartheid regimes. Does that sound familiar? Protesters used similar language during the anti-Israel BDS, the Boycott, Sanctions, and Divestment movement. Many pro-Palestinian groups refer to Israel as an apartheid state. But believe me, folks, I spent time in South Africa during the apartheid era. Israel is not an apartheid state. It's a nation defending itself against cross-border attacks from Hamas terrorists and other militants committed to destroying the country and its people. There's no equivalency with the South African government that oppressed its own citizens. Genocide? Really? Do these Wolverines even understand the definition of genocide? The Geneva Convention describes genocide as a crime committed with the intent to destroy a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group in whole or in part. That's not what's happening to the Palestinians in Gaza. If Israel wanted to commit genocide against the Palestinian people, why would they drop leaflets in Gaza City and warn people to evacuate buildings before they bomb them? Why would they allow humanitarian corridors to be set up so people could flee the fighting? One aspect of genocide is forcibly transferring children from one group to another. Let's see, wasn't it the Hamas militants who transferred kidnapped Jewish children away from their parents and forced them to stay with the terror group as hostages? Well, that fits the genocide definition, doesn't it? The war in Gaza would stop tomorrow if Hamas surrendered and pledged to live in peace with their Israeli neighbors. But that is unlikely to happen as long as they continue to teach their children to clothe themselves in battle fatigues while brandishing weapons and chanting from the river to the sea. That chant advocates, by the way, genocide, erasing Israel from the map. They're embedding it into the hearts and minds of many Palestinians, and the fighting will continue until their attitude changes. Israel has the power and ability to destroy Hamas. But what happens afterward? Another one will eventually rise up. True and lasting heart change won't come from political leaders. God is the only one who can deliver reconciliation and peace to the sons of Isaac and Ishmael. Keep seeking him and praying during this time of tumult and uncertainty. Well, that's it today from the Global Lane. Be sure to follow us on the CBN News and NRB channels, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Rumble. And until next time, be blessed.